Hello, welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I'm your Loremaster, here today for continuation of a look at Tian Xia. For lucky few, the Tian Xia Lost Omens books came out recently, this past week. However, we still have a few last-minute topics before the street date, so let's examine a few more Tian topics. After all, we still have one more god left on the docket. So let us look at Shizuru, the Empress of Heaven, deity of ancestors, honor, the sun, and swordplay. Starting off as always, we start with where you can find today's information yourself. The start of anything proper is the beginning, whether it's swordplay or going through videos like this. And the basic information you can find is in 1E's Tian Xia books and 2E's Gods and Magic. However, eventually you must learn to build up your technique, and we eventually reach a full write-up in the book Face the Galorian. We then add a bit of flair with plain adventures, then finish up by adding finer details and side tangents from the 1E Tian Xia books and a 2E Firebrand book. Shizuru stands at the head of the heavenly court, where she stands both as the perfect sovereign and the perfect warrior. She has proven her right to rule multiple times, every time fighting her own battle. At this point, she has no need for pride or to defend her right to rule. All within the Dragon Empires know and accept. Even the mightiest of the dragons bow their head to the Empress of Heaven, and it is from her humans gain codes of honor and the beginning of swordsmanship. Shizuru, being the goddess of swordsmanship, often appears as a human of the Tian Min in laminar armor with a rooster on its back, emblazoned on the back, and colored gold because, of course. Her dress underneath is often marked with the symbol of a corp, and she is never seen without a sword by her side. However, she can also appear as an imperial dragon, specifically a sovereign dragon, with golden armor and a fiery mane of hair. And as a god, she can also appear as both at once. Which, well, on the topic of golden corps, this seems like an opportunity for us to look at our first side tangent, the part of the show where I talk about more gods. No, you do not have a say in that, and you cannot stop me. I don't have a problem. This week we start with a look at what is, until 2 weeks from now, the most recent addition to the Tian Xia cast, Jin Li, the Golden Dragon Corp. Born from a corp which was friends with Sun Wukong and who tried to prove their friendship by leaping up a waterfall. He is worshipped in the likes of Quain, Ling Shen, and Po Li as a deity of challenges and self-improvement. He even has a bit of foothold in the inner sea region after a group of firebrands woke up with matching corp tattoos, as you would. After the resurrection of her lover Tsukio, she found herself unable to understand fully the transformation he has been through. She struggles with feelings that the moon god might resent her for bringing him back, guilt at this potential resentment, and grief that the Tsukio she once knew will never return. But she still loves him and works to try to embrace the new form of her lover, though the fact these negative emotions still linger continues to eat away at her. The faith of Shizuru is devoted to maintaining a just and dignified society upon Earth. This is done by establishing hierarchy where everyone has a place and working for the benefit of all. This includes the Imperial Dragons, which have strong connections to the nations of Tian Xia, and even the vilest of dragons will at least pay her some lip service. In exchange, all dragons are treated with respect by the faith, as long as their presence in an area is a net positive. Her faith is semi-militaristic, ready at all times to stand against those who would do harm, but they work at all times for peace, believing life is wasted on war. All followers are expected to carry themselves with patient dignity, even showing outward humility at all times. The faith of Shizuru has a strict hierarchy, from the worshippers to the one-month monks who travel and assist at temples and monasteries, to those who teach the priests how to be a priest. The faith overall has a strong presence of asceticism, especially considering there are a decent amount of temples which are a fair distance away from civilization, and especially with many who join the clergy wanting that distance, something in their previous life that they desire distraction from, not that different from Shizuru and her throwing herself in a work to escape the reality of Tsukio. That said, despite being recluses, they have a large focus on helping communities and can always be called upon when danger comes to nearby towns. Same with wandering priests, those who have made it a mission to wander the world to find those who are in need. Now, before I go farther, let us expand on a real-world topic that I feel many only have a vague concept of what it actually is. Ronin. Ronin, by definition, are samurai who have no lords, no masters, and, in some cases, have cut ties with their own clans as well. The name means unrestrained person and dates back to before the samurai era, when it was used to describe serfs who deserted their station. Often, fiction shows them as cool heroes who wander around and protect people, which some of them might have, but to be Ronin, according to the laws of Bushido, was to live without honor and have one's existence treated as a major shame. Samurai and daimyo would go far to discriminate against Ronin. Of course, when the Edo period came and the central government was confiscating land at a rapid rate, this led to a large amount of Ronin. And in turn, it also led to many Ronin becoming mercenaries and criminals. At least they were like the likes of Miyamoto Musashi and Kyokutai Benken to keep the reputation at least stable. As mentioned in Tsukio's guide video, the two lovers tend to have conjoined temples, with Shizuru's typically being larger and set on the side which will get the most sunlight. These temples are typically also built around sword schools, where worshippers learn swordplay from priests. Elsewhere, holy sites take the form of far-off monasteries, or even small shrines deep in the forest. Regardless of the overall form of the shrines, they always have two things in common: a sundial and a mirror made of gold and mercury. The realms of Shizuru and Tsukio are both on the third tier of heaven, on opposite sides of the mountain. Shizuru's is the Palace of the Eightfold Mirror. It is made up of countless shrines, all chained together by torii gates and ceremonial fountains, all under eternal sunlight. In the center is the palace itself, where Shizuru does her celestial duties, and where the heavenly court meets when Shizuru calls it. Anyone here want another deity as we make our way down the list? It's time for side tangent number 3. One who had a great effect on Shizuru's life and Tsukio's death is Kringzong, the Master Medicine. Appearing as an old man in healer's robes which are made of the 5 elements, he is a god of healing and the Eastern Continent's master of magic. There's no need for Nethys here. He is of course the one who used his knowledge of healing to bring Tsukio back from the dead. Kringzong has strong connections to the 5 elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And there are connections to medicine, magic, and martial arts. Those who follow him believe in the importance of both learning and teaching. So now, time for a quick rundown of facts about Shizuru's faith. Her faith is, of course, strongest in Minkai, her chosen nation. Through the spread of samurai, we have worship in Jinin and Shakuro. Of course, other goodly nations have adopted her worship, with Ziha and the soon-to-be renamed nation of Amador getting the faith from their neighbors, and Zahoi because of dragons. Goka because almost all gods find representation there, also has a large statue of her with Tsukio. And finally Quain, which is more martial arts than katana, but swords play and dragons tie into the overall Kung Fu movie aesthetic, so it's there too. She has a few holidays to her names. The first, not an official holiday, but everyone celebrates when an eclipse brings the two lovers together. The Festival of the Ruling Sun, the second holiday, celebrates the longest day of the year with both festivals and the renewing of vows. And third, the Heaven's Benefiction is said to be when Shizuru most closely looks over humanity, and is a day both for self-improvement, weddings, and honoring the dead. Finally, Shizuru's holy book is the 15 Words, a list of 15 aphorisms believed to have been directly from Shizuru herself. Finally, as always, allies and gods. First allies, as mentioned with Tsukio, the two of them share their daughter, the Dusk Ronin, as a planar ally. I'll leave that to the Tsukio video to explain her role. Shizuru, on her own, has the Eyes of the Sun, unique Blue Lion brother and sister. They are irreverent pranksters who serve as a test of self-discipline, while also being unfailing servants. And her herald is Shino Nome, a sky dragon that scales the color of dawn. She serves unfailingly, but is wise enough to make sure this does not devolve into fanaticism. As for other deities, she is in charge of the heavenly court, and works to ensure the region's deities at least nominally get along. Shizuru would treat with even the evil gods of her region, but would swiftly punish evil outsiders trying to get involved. Individually, I do not think anything else needs to be said about Tsukio that has not already been said. The deities Shizuru personally works together the most with are Abadar, Iroi, and Ki-Zong. She holds Shaolin and her arts in high regard, and while they rarely cross paths, Shizuru holds her Western counterpart Aomade with respect. And for our final side tangent, surprise, it's another god. Shizuru's brother, General Tsusumu, the Black Daimyo, god of archery, horses, personal glory, and war. He has no time for the heroism of some warriors. All he and his worshippers need is war and glory. He and his army are known to appear during great conflicts, not out of desire for one side to win over the other, but because they find it fun. Appearing as a man with red face, almost like mine, bushy eyebrows, and black armor upon a winged black horse, he, like his sister, is also dragon, one with deep crimson and scales and obsidian tusks. Which brings us to the end of today's video. If you cannot tell, I am excited about learning more about our Tian deities in the next few weeks, as well as add more to the pantheon. But it was good going back and looking at 3 we all already knew about. But we still have 1 week before street date, although we already have people digging through their copies, and 1 more video ready to end our Tian Xia adventure off. So look forward to next week when we look at something a little more dangerous.